All right. Hi, everyone. This is Emily Sheltry from the Career Center, here to talk to you a little bit today about navigating job offers and negotiations. Hopefully, many of you had interviews last week after the career fair or are starting to get interview requests now. Please feel free to reach out to us with any specific questions, but hopefully this webinar will help you to start navigating some of the job offers you're getting. My first piece of advice for you is to negotiate. Really know your worth and don't be afraid to ask for it. The reason for that is this is really a normal and common business practice. Don't feel like you'll be, putting a sour taste in an employer's mouth or that maybe you'll come off as too assertive. It's definitely a good thing to know your worth. And again, it's normal, it's a common business practice. It's definitely okay for you to negotiate. The worst thing that can happen is an employer will say no. However, if you are an entry-level candidate and you've just received a job offer, some people say you should negotiate, others say no. Either way, if you do decide to negotiate, find 2 to 3 reasons why you specifically are worth more than what they're offering. Some of those reasons might be previous relevant industry experience. So, for example, maybe you did a co-op your junior year and you took the whole year off, you got really hands-on, in-depth industry experience, and now you're actually moving into the workforce with a whole year of that experience. Go ahead and actually touch on that. Let the employer know, hey, I might be an entry-level candidate, but I am starting out with a little bit more experience than others might be in the same job. Another thing that might work is if you possess a required skill that might be a little bit harder for that employer to find. So that might be a specific technical skill. Maybe you have a really strong background in a specific type of software, or maybe it's more of a personality trait. For example, maybe you are going into the communication field and you have a really strong background and proven, maybe proven experience with presentations, for example. Another reason that you might want to negotiate is if the job offer that you received is not in line with national figures or average starting salaries. So please do feel free to visit the Career Center or email us for really specific statistics based on your major, based on the job location, the industry, and other factors. So the sooner you reach out to us, let us know what your offer was, or just ask what is standard for Clarkson students with your major. We can actually help you to figure out if what the employer is offering is even a fair number. Another thing that might work is if you have another offer on the table. So maybe, for example, you were offered 2 jobs, but one of them is more in line with what you'd like to do, but the other is offering more money. You can reach out to that employer and just say, hi, I actually have a job offer from X company and they are offering this specific amount. Would you be able to match that? Especially because you're my first choice and I'm very excited about working with you for these specific reasons. And that's where you'd fill in what your connection to the company is, why you're excited about them, why you're a good candidate, but you're also letting them know that another company also wants you and is willing to pay just a little bit more. Some things that probably won't work, things that we don't recommend you talk about in a negotiation are, first of all, GPA and degree. Graduating from Clarkson, it is pretty likely that there will be other people graduating with your major, with your degree, with similar experience and a similar GPA. Typically, those things do say something about you as a candidate. Your GPA can be a good way to showcase, that you are a hard worker, that you really understand the material. But at the same time, GPA isn't everything. And it's very likely that the employer has actually seen what your GPA is before they made the offer, so they might know about it. Same thing with geography and cost of living. The employer knows really what the geography is, what the cost of living might be in their area, and they're not likely to, up that offer just based on what the cost of living is, especially because their other employees will similarly be experiencing those same factors. Student loans and bills, same thing. Those are more private and typically not something that a recruiter or an employer would consider to be a reason to offer you more money. As far as approaching the conversation, when you go into a negotiation, it's really important to use open-ended terminology. So I was wondering if you were open to negotiating. I was wondering if you'd be willing to talk to me a little bit more about, this offer, and if it's up for negotiation. Any kind of specific phrasing where you're not asking directly for something, you're starting with, I was just hoping maybe we could have a conversation. Never negotiate while the employer is actually making the offer. So when you go into that interview, you've had a really good conversation, you feel strongly about it, don't start the negotiation there. Wait until you actually have that official offer, and then move on to the negotiation. You also want to know ahead of time whether or not you will accept the offer or won't accept the offer if they're not willing to negotiate. So say, for example, you feel that what the employer is offering is just a little bit too low. Maybe you can't, afford to take that job at that specific number. Really know that ahead of time. Don't go into the negotiation. If you ask and they say no, don't continue to sort of keep them on the line. So that's where you would say, thank you for the offer. After reviewing the information, I was wondering if you are open to negotiating on the salary. If they say no, do you accept or decline the original offer? So don't string them along. Say, okay, in that case, I do not accept this offer. Or if, again, they're unwilling to negotiate and you do accept the offer, that's okay too. If they do say that they're open to negotiation, be prepared to tell them specifically what you want. So on average, this is going to be about $3,000 to $5,000 more. We don't typically recommend going too far above that. But that's where you would say, I was hoping to be in the area of about blank to blank. And that's where you give a specific range with specific numbers. Again, the Career Center is more than happy to help you out with coming up with those specific numbers. And then the other important part is based on reason 1, 2, 3. And that's where you really touch on those reasons. You make your argument and present your evidence for why specifically you deserve $3,000 to $5,000 more than what the employer is originally offering. Some other things that you may want to consider negotiating on that are not just salary are work-life balance options, especially with everything that has been going on lately with the pandemic and the way things are starting to change in terms of work-life balance. It's definitely okay to ask about things like flex time, compressed work week, remote work. What are the company's policies on those? Think about bonus pay. So in many industries, the actual salary that you're being offered may be a little bit lower, but maybe there's also, for example, the opportunity to get paid commission, and what you make at the end of the year might actually be a lot higher than that offer suggests. Some companies also offer tuition assistance. This is especially awesome if you are thinking about going back for your master's degree, doctorate. whatever it is, ask that company if they do help with tuition. And if so, what are the specific factors? What are the specific requirements that you would be held to during that time? You can also ask about insurance benefits or potential for raises or promotions. So how often, how likely is it that people are given promotions, that people get raises? Think too a little bit about the company culture and the fit. So yes, salary is important, but it may not be everything. If it's a company that you really, really genuinely like working for, maybe, for example, you did an internship and you just feel strongly that it's where you belong, that might affect your decision too. And finally, think a little bit about skill development and professional development opportunities. So that might be something very formalized, like a conference that people go to every year, or maybe some kind of training that the company offers, or it might be some sort of mentorship opportunity. So think about what kinds of skills and professional development opportunities that company might help you to achieve as well. Finally, really just know your worth. I can't stress this enough. Find salary statistics from your career center, from Glassdoor.com, from Payscale.com, whatever it is for you. Really make sure that you know what those average numbers are and that you're able to cite them specifically to an employer. Then you'll have to find your confidence and ask for what you're worth. So although some and most really negotiate for about $3,000 to $5,000 more, we've had students successfully land even $10,000 more. Really find that confidence, ask for what you're worth, and keep in mind that you won't come off as being, braggy or overconfident if you're able to say, here are the specific reasons, here's the specific evidence that I have for why I'm worth this much. So that goes a long way in kind of changing that perspective. And finally, don't be afraid to walk away if the offer is out of line with your reasonable expectations. If you come to the Career Center and find out that an employer is not offering anywhere near what the average is, what you're worth, and you feel like it's not the job for you, don't be afraid to walk away. That's why we're here. The Career Center is always willing to sit down with you as many times as you need. We'll go over every aspect of your job search, and we'll really make sure that you are connecting with the right people, getting offers. So please don't ever be afraid to walk away. Don't feel like that offer that you got that isn't a fair offer will be your only offer, because it definitely won't be. There are plenty more coming your way. Finally, if you have any questions at all about this presentation or about your job or internship search in general, please feel free to email the Career Center at career@clarkson.edu or set up an appointment on Handshake. The earlier that you come to see us in that process of negotiating, the more we'll be able to help you. So please keep that in mind. Really do your best to come see us as soon as possible. Reach out to us as soon as possible, and we'll make sure that you are in the best possible place that you can be. Thank you.